All right. Well, for those who are watching the recording, I forgot to record the initial part, but all we have done is add a new post request on the /new endpoint. We've done some body validation here, and we're going to call our controller function to create the projects. So yeah, sorry for not recording that earlier, but you will now be able to follow along. We've also created the create project controller, which I have done by copy and pasting the get projects controller, using object destructuring to access the skills, the title, the description, and the URL, which we know that we want from our schema over here. We're skipping the image URLs for now. We'll come back to that later. We're getting the current user through this function, get current user. This already exists. You don't have to make that. It does exist. You guys all have that function, right? Yes? Okay.
I don't have it.
Are you sure you do not have it? I would be shocked if somebody has it and you do not have it.
Oh.
We're good.
Thank you.
There we go. And now we're calling projectservices.createProject, which we have not defined yet, and we're just dumping the values that we have into that. All right. So now we're going to go to our service function again. How much time? Oh, we're doing great. I'm not going to copy and paste that. You can copy and paste the, also for those who are still catching up on get projects, it is there again. I'm not going to copy and paste it, but I will create project, static async create project, and then we're going to add those things in a little bit later. Now we're going to return the created project. All right. And so this is our signature. We do know that we want skills, which will be an array of strings. We know we want, I don't know the exact format I put it in, but it doesn't really matter. You can always change it later. We want title, which is also a string. We know that from our schema. That's how we know that it will be that. Description will be a string. You can also do lowercase string. Doesn't matter for our purposes. And then user, which will be a user, but make sure it's from the Prisma client, not from shared. It's a little confusing. If you guys want more clarity on that, you can rename your shared types to just be shared project or shared user or shared experience. You can either do that in the shared folder, or you can actually do this little thing where you can say project as shared project. Oh. And then that will let you define that as this. So you're able to rename it in the individual file, which is pretty cool and is very useful when you have two types that are the same name from different modules. But you don't have to do that. I'm not going to do that. All right. So now we're going to actually create the project, and we're going to use that with we're going to do that with Prisma. First, we're going to do a little validation. We're going to say we only want our admins to be able to create projects. So we're going to say if user.role does not equal admin, then we're going to throw. Does everybody know what throw means? Like to throw an error? Okay, good. We're gonna throw an error, an access denied exception, which is a custom error that we have defined, and we're gonna supply a message. I think we'll throw new access denied exception, where our message is going to be only admins can create projects. You can do it like that. You can also do it with an open bracket and a closed bracket. But if you only have one line of code afterwards, you do not have to supply open bracket and closed bracket in TypeScript. However, there was a famous double double thing. I forget what it's called. Where like Apple had one of these things, and then had like two of the same functions right after it, and then regardless of the if statement, the function was always called, and it broke like a whole bunch of shit, which is kind of funny. And then other than that, we are just going to await. We're going to say const project equals await prisma.project.create. You guys should all know this from your seed data. And we're going to supply our data now. Instead of just hard coding everything, we're going to say we have skills, we have title, we have description, we have URL. This is really upset with me. Oh, I guess you do have to do lowercase, but it doesn't really matter. So yeah. Also, okay, I figured that out. I'm going to explain this. I cannot emphasize enough reading error descriptions. It says string is not assignable to type string. But you see there's a difference here. What is the difference between this string and this string? Capitalization. That is it. So just go in here and lowercase this s. Error messages are awesome. And then we also need to define our, what is it, creator ID. You can do creator or creator ID. I think if you do creator, let me see if I can get the syntax right. You could say creator, and then you can say link. No, never mind. I'm not going to try that. You can just say creator ID, and then you can say user.id or user ID. Whatever your user's ID is, you can do it like that. And now it's happy with me. It is connect. That's right. You can also do creator and then connect. Yes. And then you can say ID and you can say user.id. And that's like technically better. But you can do either way. Either way will ideally create the foreign key constraint. You don't have to worry about what that means. All right. With this project, though, if I try to return project right now, what's going to happen? You guys should all know this. You learned this last time. Do you want me to hover over the error message? I do need to include creator. And a special way you can do that is do ... project query args like that. But we're still getting an issue. If you guys have defined your project query args, you can do that. Still getting an issue where the types of creator.role are incompatible. Type guest is not assignable to type role. How did we fix this issue last time? Sorry? No. How did we fix this issue last time? What's different? What are we missing from this service function that we did in the last service function that we made? Transformer. So what we can do is we can say project transformer project. And there we go, guys. We've created an endpoint that will create a project. It is 7:32. Do we do update or do we have them do create right now? All right, we're going to quickly do update. And it's going to be a lot of copy and pasting. I'm going to go pretty. Has everybody gotten this? Is anybody missing anything? What do people want me to? There's an error.
Yeah, for ID.
Is it user ID?
No, just the ID.
Yeah, what does the error message say? It's saying ID is not defined.
Does not exist in type user created.
Yeah. So the way you can figure that out, what did you define? Are you sure you have an ID here, or do you have a user ID here, or something else named?
I do have ID.
You do have ID? You might need to yarn Prisma generate. but then you can also use creator ID. All right, I think we do project, and we'll also answer miscellaneous questions right now. So for your task, I want you guys to do the create experience endpoint really quickly, following this exact pattern that we just did. So you know that an experience, well, do I have experience? Yeah. You know that experience is going to have title, description, company name, location. You can skip image URLs. You guys don't have updated that. And then creator, and you have start date and end date. So yeah, you guys need to make a route for create experience that will create one of these in the database, following the exact pattern that we just did for project. Does everybody feel comfortable doing that? I'm going to take your astounding silence as a yes. All right, tech leads, let's help people. Questions, and nobody's raising their hand. If you have questions, raise your hand. Or need help, raise your hand. And then users be your actual
All those things are.
So a function is their type is here, applying to any plus return. What do you think that means? So what is signature saying right now? If you like, you can scroll like a timeline, like static create project. What is this?
Yeah.
Could you do templates and functions? You're not in these yet? You'll learn on the staff. So essentially, this is called a function. So you're defining a function called create project that is going to take in skills.
Did you say like
URL and it's going to output the promise of a project. So right now you're declaring that this is going to output a promise of a project. However, your function doesn't return it.
Yes.
So you need to actually return your project.
Do you have an MCM? So the problem is that if you do
No, you do need the quotes. So they are situations. Go based on your project.
Oh, because I have this
This one is for the front end.
So it's up to you, whether you want to just be like case or oh, the thing is.
Yeah.
It's just
But you do have GitHub. So that's the same thing. Yeah, so you can, this is the nice part about Transformer. If you log your file somewhere else,
Yes.
My project,
Every time you see it,
What is your project? Go to your project.
okay, alright, so you need so basically, Node is used a bunch of different versions of it, but certain sections do different versions of it. So, what I'm gonna have you do is install look up like how to install
well, that's what is date. And then,
I would recommend it.
also define
Oh.
I mean, you can do that. It's not cheap. You can do that. If you want
Yeah.
that, you're
Follow this through, and then after you get that, you're gonna essentially do an npm install the version that you want, and then npm use the version that you want, and then you just go like but if you get every all of this
Yeah, did you import project?
yeah, so once you get npm installed, you're gonna do npm install, and then whatever version is active.
No, that's a different project.
Yeah, and then npm use, that's how you use it.
there was an issue here that it wouldn't be the same as somewhere along experiences. I'll show you what it There you go. From
Yeah.
Wait, was it else? Yeah, it was just straight up URL. I don't know if it has to do with
That's coming to
Are you allowed to cover that?
Yeah.
Do you mind switching to a project stuff?
Hey, I'm just gonna show a different file.
Okay.
This is project.controller. I mean, this is projects controller right here. He's like, can you show projects controller?
No, yeah. And I'd rather it be like this in Launchpad than like have half the people not come to the finish line. All right, when people are finished, make sure to look up. But I don't think we'll I think we'll probably need one more week of this. And I'd rather not have one more. I could just have them do update projects.
Yeah. If they know how to do it. It's just the same.
Oh, I guess you do need to know how to do update. Okay. Uh-oh.
I did something.
So somebody else had that same problem. Self-study this. You're gonna well, yeah, you're gonna learn it when you move on to finish like as well. But you're learning this for the, initially right now, and then once you move on to finish line, you'll be doing pretty much the same stuff. You know, as just being part of the club. So you'll learn a lot there.
Study it, you just jump straight in and learn just by doing it.
Like there's no need to like watch.
No, I hate watching.
Tutorial how is like the worst thing. Like you won't really find.
Also, that's not. It's not. Yeah. There's a good guy on YouTube who I watch. He's always like, the learning. Like when you watch a tutorial, the person who made the tutorial is doing all of the learning to figure out like the final product. But what you're doing is you're just watching somebody who has already done the learning. And like, well, you can like understand the basic syntax from this kind of stuff. That's why we had you do experiences on your own so that you can kind of figure that out yourself and like, oh, I don't know why this validation isn't working. You can look back at what we did for projects, but you're going to actually learn what you're doing yourself. So.
Does that experience just stuff keep me in order? Like,
What's actually being input into the database is just an object that it's just an object that has these values here. Order doesn't really matter. The only time order matters is if you define a function like this, where the first parameter of the function needs to be an array of strings. The second parameter needs to be the title or whatever. But if you were to define this as like an object like that, you could put them in any order. It doesn't matter. As long as the object is the same, it doesn't matter like which one you define first in the object. All right. I'm going to start going over update project. And then if we have time, you guys will do update experience, or you will do update experience for homework as well. All right. We're going to start in the routes again, and I'm going to do pretty much the same thing where I'm going to copy this and paste it. We're still going to be a post, but we're going to be on /update. We still want the title, but this will be the updated title, the updated description, the updated URL, the updated skills, and whatnot. But we're going to call a new function called update project. See, as we develop more infrastructure, adding more stuff is much, much easier. We didn't have to go over the query args or the transformers today, again, because we already defined them and we can just use them in our functions from now on. But yeah, if you guys didn't see, I literally just copied this, pasted it, changed this to be /update, and change this to be update project. All right. Actually, there's one other thing. We need /update/ well, depends. Doesn't really matter where you do it, but you can do either /ID /update or /update /:ID or project ID for more verboseness. I like doing it second or first. So I'm gonna do it like that. You do need that as well in order to identify the project that you are updating. Can somebody explain to me why there's a colon? What does the colon mean in URLs? We talked about that in the very, very beginning. If anybody remembers. You could just say the word after the colon and you would be right. So what is it? What is the colon denoting? The project ID. Yes. It's denoting what project you are updating. So this is going to be a variable that we're able to parse out of the URL. This could be anything. When you actually ping it, it's not going to be project ID unless your project's ID happens to be project ID, but most likely will not be. But we're going to go back into controllers and we're going to copy and paste our create project. We're going to rename it to be update project. We still want to parse all of these things out of the body. We just want one other thing from the URL, which is project ID. And that is going to be from rec.params. Everybody see that? And then we're also going to pass that in to our service function and make sure that your service function is update project. Everybody see this? Any questions on what we just did?
Can you show what you changed again?
Yeah. So change the name to be update project. We're still parsing the same things out of the body. We're just also parsing the project ID out of the parameters, which is the URL. And then we're passing the URL into our update project service function, which we have not defined yet. Does that make sense? Ready good? All right. Now to the meat. I am not going to copy and paste that, but I will say static async update project. We want skills, description, URL, title. I think title was second. I can't remember. User and the project ID. And this, once again, is going to return the updated project. So project. And then also I forgot all the types. So string array, string. And then project ID is string. Why is project ID a string? Not quite. No. They have to answer. Exactly. Who said that? I didn't see who said that. Nice. Yes. The schema says it's a string. Right here. The project ID is a string. Nice. We're going to add a little bit more funky validation. And we're going to say if, also I'm going to, oh, that's lame. If user dot, oh, actually, we can do a lot of things. We're gonna do a bunch of validation. So we're gonna say const project equals await prisma.project.findUnique. People remember the find unique variable from or the function from yesterday, where ID or project ID is equal to the project ID. I don't know what you guys define it as, but yeah. And we're also going to include the user, but I'm going to use the project query args again for that. And we're going to say if not project, we're going to throw a not found exception. And we're going to say, oh, how's this again? Oh, yeah. New. Always new. And do I have project? I forget. Is it number first? No, it is name. Do I not have do a project? Okay. You can say project. Ideally, it highlights it for you. And then ID is going to be project ID. Do that. And then we're also going to say if project.creator or user created, whatever you define it as, dot ID does not equal the user dot ID, we're going to throw an access denied exception. And what should our message be? Also new access denied exception. Why are we throwing? What is this? What is this checking for us? What is this business logic saying?
The current user did not create this project.
Exactly. And why would we want to throw an error?
Then they're like changing someone else's.
Yeah, we only want the person who created the project to edit the project. You may have some other cases where, like, if you have a hierarchy and you have like a super admin who can do anything, or if you have a specific user who has a permission to edit projects, you can allow that as well. But very, very simple validation. We don't want other people editing other people's projects. So throw an access denied exception and say only the creator of a project can edit. I think I'm actually doing this wrong. I think there's a, oh no, I'm doing it right. If you are wondering how I'm doing that, if you command and then click on something, it'll go to the definition of it. So you don't need to know where something is in the file system. VS Code will just find it for you, and it'll bring you to it. All right, speed mode. Now that we have all of that done, oh, there's one other thing we don't want to do. What else? All right, tech leads, you guys are allowed to answer this question. What else do we want to check? Kyle? Nice. Yes. If the project date deleted, what is it? Deleted at, I think you guys have date deleted, does not equal null, or you could just say if, you can just do that. Yes. For the, TypeScript is really cool because there's this concept of truthy and falsy values, which means that certain different variables can either pass as true or fail as false, or fail as false. Yeah. So like things that are undefined or null will be falsy, which means that if you do if undefined, it will not go into the if statement. It will not pass that if statement. And then if you say like if like a non-empty array, it'll pass, or like a non-empty string or something like that.
Basically, anything can be used as a boolean if you know any boolean.
Yeah, if you know whether or not it is falsy or truthy. But typically you do it to check if something is undefined or null. Throw new HTTP. Wait, did I do deleted exception? I did do deleted exceptions. Let's go. Deleted exceptions, and we're going to say project. Get that nice little syntax, and we're going to say ID, or project ID. Project ID. All right. Now for the actual part, we're going to say const updated project equals await prisma.project.update. Are you guys surprised? where ID is project ID. And we're going to say data is the classic data that we had before. So skills, title, description, URL, and then that's it. We don't need to update the creator because we are enforcing that, you know, the creator is updating it or whatever. And then we need the same thing. And once again, what are the last two steps that we need to do? Excellent. Excellent. Exactly. Yes. Project query args and throw it. Couldn't have said it better myself. Throw it into the project transformer. And boom. No syntax errors. Beautiful. You guys now have functions to update and create project. If you want, you can make a delete. You don't have to. But you do have to do the create and update experiences. TBD on whether or not I want you guys to do get users or if I'm just going to give you guys that code this week. But I'd recommend doing it. It's the same as get projects and get experiences just for users. Actually, another thing I glossed over at the very end of the last meeting, to actually use the routers that you create, go to your index.ts file in the root of your backend directory. I'm going to close all this. In the root of your backend directory, and underneath the error handler, do app.use/projects with the project router. And then you also will want to do app.use/experiences with the experiences router. Yeah. And I think we're going to do one more week of backend. Is everybody okay with that? People feel like they could use one more week of the backend, and then we'll move into the front end. So we're probably going to be 2 weeks longer than what I initially anticipated, but that's fine. I'd rather you guys have a better understanding of it. But this gets it so that your app actually uses the routers we have defined. So yeah.
Will we be making some sort of GUI to do the updates and stuff?
Yeah, so that's the second half of Launchpad. We'll be using React, React Query, Axios to actually call these endpoints that we have created. And if people feel like they understand React and don't want to do the React portion, you're welcome to reach out to Sean. And you'll do a technical interview, so make sure you know how to. Well, I'm not going to spoil it. But yeah, do a technical interview and you might be able to move on to a project on finish line right away if you just wanted the backend section.
Yeah, the whole reason why we're doing this stuff is so that everything is set up in the backend so that we can like programmatically create our projects and experiences without having to like seed them manually. So basically, once we have all of this foundation done, that allows you to have like total freedom when you create your front end interface to actually access and manipulate data in your backend, like in your database.
Also, we are probably going to be having a mixer with Oasis on October 15th, which is a Thursday at 7. Ideally, not confirmed yet, but we could be doing that. Would people want to learn? I was thinking of giving a little presentation on Express and what you guys have kind of learned so far to the people at Oasis because they are not learning about Express there. But if people would want to learn something else, you're welcome to reach out to me. I'm open for any suggestions. But yeah. We can stick around if people want to do the experiences right now, or it's 8, so you guys are free to go. Also, everyone make sure you've done your size shield or you will be kicked out of Slack. Yeah, it's the last day to do it. You have to do it before midnight. You guys should have gotten an email if you have not done it.
And if you're not sure if you've done it,
If you're not sure you've done it, make sure to reach out to Allie and new members and ask her individually.
King Chandler.
Even if you have done it, just ping her.
I wanted to like.
Yeah, because I did it so long ago. Oh, thank you. So I got added on the automatic list of people who hadn't done it. What's up?
Is this where you have to change it? I should hope so.
What?
I should hope so.
Yeah, I was about to say you would definitely give an answer.
Oh.
Don't want to waste his time.
Oh, I wanted to ask if anybody was interested in
One thing I also do.
what is Figma.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reached out to Nice Shout Out that you wanted this.
Yeah.
All right, we can do it. Yeah.
I think that's so hard. Okay. Figma is the best thing.
Figma is a way to design without actually coding anything.
But it actually can export to code as well, which is
Yeah,
sometimes
you'd never want to be able to use your code ever.
It's not even the worst. I don't use it. But it's fine.
What's up?
Probably just like messing around, and then I got a ton of errors. I fixed most of them. It was in my seed file. I got a ton of errors.
I swear it's
Yeah, from my experience, for some reason,
Do you have any
Yeah,
other
so
ways to
you
share?
can't specify like a model object here for user created. Since you've done the user created, I can't.
I don't know if I should have.
This will link the created user there.
Yeah, so I get another error.
Yeah.
It's like actually like none of the other stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't do like a lot of
Typically it's at the bottom, so it's missing the following properties from type experience. You need company name, start date, and end date, and the order.
No, you're right.
It's about the shared thing.
Okay.
On just like these files, anywhere where it tries to import it, does not like it.
Okay, yeah, that's
Features, stat, stats, So you just deleted node modules and reinstalled?
Yeah. Okay. So your no modules were cached incorrectly.
Okay.
So I just did delete them.
Okay, thank you.
We have a dedicated command for that in finish line. I just didn't think it would be a problem here.
all right. Yeah, that fixed it.
There we go.
Appreciate it.
Of course.